Hey guys, how we doing? And welcome back to Beginner Bass Lessons. So today I wanted to talk about minor triads, right? So in previous videos we've looked at the cycle of fourths. So cycle of fourths, for anyone who hasn't watched videos on the channel, but it allows us to play things like arpeggios, triads, scales in all 12 keys. So we move it all around the neck, and that allows us to play these things in all 12 keys, which is how we should be practicing, right? So we also looked at the major triads, and again, so we moved it all round, all 12 keys, right? And we did that in the last video lesson. And the tabs for that are all on Patreon. If you guys want to support the channel, great. But today we're going to look at minor triads. So when we talked about major triads, we did particularly use 3 patterns. But we also talked about what a major triad is. And it's the stacking of thirds, right? So we had the root, so let's say we're in C. Then we had a major third to E, and then we stacked a minor third to get us to G. So with a minor triad, it's kind of the flip, kind of the other way around, right? So with the major, we had root to major thirds. With a minor, we're actually going root to minor third, right? Now all a minor third is a flattened major third. Okay, so we had this major third, C, E, that's a major third. And if we move that down 1 fret, we get our flattened third, our minor third. So just listen to that sound. Major, minor, right? So it's really important to get used to those kind of sounds. Major, minor. So minor triad, we're stacking thirds. We start with a minor third and then we use a major third. So C, and we've got E flat, which is our minor third, and then we go to G, which is our major third. So C, our root, E flat minor third, and G major third. Okay? And what we're doing, the first position we're going to look at is the first finger position. So we use our first finger to start, and we're on the C. We go down to the 11th fret of the E string, E flat, and then we're back on the 10th of the A string to our G. So we've got C, E flat, G. Okay? So once you've kind of got that under your fingers, we need to start moving it around the cycle of fourths. Again, I'll put a link to that video in the description. We need to get used to playing this in all 12 keys like so. So okay, and again the tabs will be on Patreon for that exercise. So just like a major scale, there's more than one way. Major scale, major triad. There's more than one way to play a minor triad, right? So we've looked at the first position, but there are other ways to play it. So remember, we're stacking thirds. So we've got our tonic or our root, which is C, and we're looking for that minor third. So in the first position, we played the E flat, which is the 11th fret on the E string, but we've also got an E flat on the 6th fret of the A string, right? So C, E flat, and then we're going to doing that major third again up to the G. Okay, so again we've got this second position and we need to practice moving it around the cycle of fourths. So let's give it a go. Made a mistake. So even I made a few mistakes there. So, but that's good, right? Mistakes tell us what we kind of need to work on and where we're not so comfortable. So after this video, I can go back and I can practice the second position of the minor triad, moving it all around the cycle of fourths, around all the 12 keys. We won't go into it too much more for this lesson because I want these lessons to be quite quick and quite actionable, something you guys can go and practice, you know. So, and what I want to finally cover, so we've looked at first position. Really not getting that second position today. Second position, but there's another sort of pattern that I use, and again, I don't encourage you to think of these triads or arpeggios or scales as patterns. It's good to understand how they're kind of made. So let's look at another position in which we can play. So we've got the root. So again, we're starting with C. So 8 fret E string. We're going to start with our little finger this time. And then again, we're looking for that minor third. So again, we can actually come up to the 6th fret on the A string again, right? So it's still E flat. So, and then we need a major third. So we're looking for that G, right? And if we go to the 5th fret on the D string, we've got our G. So, okay. So what, again, we need to get this feeling reasonably good under our fingers. And then of course, we've got to move it around all 12 keys, make sure we're comfortable. Usually the way I practice, firstly, it's just getting it under the fingers, right? So it'll just be no metronome, no drum beat, and just moving it around all 12 keys, no time constraint, just getting it feeling comfortable, building that muscle memory. Once it is feeling good, then I would tend to introduce, let's say, a metronome at 60 BPM. And firstly, I'd start playing crotchet beats. Yep, going round, getting comfortable. And as I feel better, increase the speed, increment the metronome. And then once the crotchets feel good, we can look at 8th notes, we can look at 16th notes. And again, starting slow and gradually building up. So we've got this 4th position, feeling nice and comfortable. So we've got to move it around all 12 keys, okay? So let's give it a go. Okay, and that's kind of where we're going to leave it today, guys. So what I want you to sort of take away from this minor triad, yes, there are 3 different patterns that we can use and we've gone through, and again, tabs will be over on Patreon. But remember, triads, arpeggios, they're stacking of thirds, right? So remember, minor triad, we've got our tonic or our root, minor third, major thirds, okay? So get comfortable with those positions, maybe try and come up with some of your own. That'd be good to hear in the comments. And once it's feeling comfortable, start moving it around all 12 keys and starting to feel really good about these positions. Next lesson, we're actually going to sort of look at walking bass lines. So we, over the past 2 and now this video, we've looked at the cycle of fourths, so playing everything in 12 keys, major triads, and minor triads. So that's kind of the basis for a walking bass line, okay? Yes, when we get to major sevenths, dominant sevenths, etc., we can start adding more notes and making it a bit more complex. But for a nice beginner bass line, major and minor triads are all you need. Okay, so thanks very much, guys. We'll leave it there. Tabs backing tracks on Patreon. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next lesson. Take care.